back in biblical times where King David said in Psalm 51, to purge me or cleanse me with hyssop and I will be made whiter than snow. The hyssop is an herb that actually helps the body detoxify. So the Bible is writing years and years ago about the cleansing effect that the body can be benefited from with different herbs and natural remedies that God provided. In Mark chapter 7 and verse 19, this is interesting. In this scripture, Jesus is actually talking to the disciples, and they were talking about eating foods that were unclean, but he refers here to purging all meats. This word meat is the word broma, which means ceremonial clean animal. So it was a custom to eat clean animals. We have beef and we have turkey over here to eat. These are clean. When you do a detox, they'll mention in there, and we've got a detox, these detox kits we're going to talk a little bit about, is oftentimes we'll cut out the heavier meats, go with the lighter meats like the turkey or fish or chicken until we go through different stages and then maybe reintroduce those. But beef is a safe meat. But Jesus is referring to purging in the body, or this actually is a scripture that in many references of different scripture or Bible types, versions of the Bible, they've taken it out and removed it. The word purging all meats is removed from the NIV and different versions. So then when you look at that, you look at the NIV version, they put in parentheses, they add to it, and they say, in saying this, Jesus declared that all food was clean. Well, that's not true. Wow. He's saying that, no, we only are going to be purging or cleansing out the stuff that we eat that's clean. Broma, ceremonial animals that God wants us to eat. I don't want to eat a vulture. Anybody here interested in a vulture? Because that's our Texas state bird. You're not going after the vulture. No. But the vulture is an animal that cleans up the earth, and that's obviously not a good food for us. So we need to understand these clean and uncleans. And in our book, The Trinity Diet, in chapter 3, do you have a copy of it? No. Chapter 3, we go into proteins where we talk about clean and unclean animals there, and from biblical reference, so it'll help you understand that a little bit. So the question is no longer if we're toxic, the question is how toxic am I? The studies are quite remarkable. Sources of toxins even getting into children. The burden is accumulation of toxins in the body and how the body's dealing with this. Chemical pollutants and pesticides in the umbilical cord study. Look at this. This is 2005. 287 chemicals detected in the umbilical cord of newborns. Pesticides, consumer product ingredients, waste materials. We've got issues here. So the body is heavily burdened. Okay. 180 of the 287 chemicals found are known to cause cancer in humans and animals. 217 are toxic to the brain and the nervous system, and 208 show to cause birth defects or abnormal development in animal tests. We wonder why we have such a high rate of birth defects today. So we get, like today I was meeting with a lady and we're actually preparing her body for pregnancy. That is the most fun client in the world to see. It's like, we're talking about having sex. This is just fun, right? We're going to make a baby, but getting the body ready for that. And then even how a woman's cycle works and how we can enhance detoxification in that premenstrual time, because that's where women are building up hormones in their tissues and they're not feeling good. They're having all kinds of aches and pains and difficulties and even mood, emotional things, because they're retaining the very hormones that would have helped them to get pregnant, and their body doesn't want those anymore. Got to cycle it out, and they got to start that cycle over again. So we've got to pay attention to how our body functions in this detox pathways. So toxins throughout our daily life, we are in contact with obviously different sources. Health concerns come from a variety of different places. Let's look at a few of those. Genetics make a difference in how we respond to environmental pollutants. Some people detoxify more efficiently than others. They do a type of caffeine clearance test where they give you 100 milligrams of caffeine, usually in like a formula of no dose. And then they'll measure how quickly you can clear it out of your system. And some people can clear it out in less than 4 hours. Some people take 12 to 24 hours. So some of us are more efficient at removing waste, but we're going to talk about how making everybody more efficient is important. The quicker we can get it out, the better. The Center for Disease Control, referred to as the CDC, in their 4th national report, and they've continued to do this, and I think they only have the ability to test for 212 chemical toxins, so we can't test for the thousands that are produced every year. In fact, they had a guy that worked in a chemical plant. He used to do trucking and moving of chemicals, and he's had exposure. And so he talks about how many chemicals are out there, and he said this stuff is so toxic. And he's been into all these areas that have been exposures. He said, and I would come in and they didn't give me masks to wear. I mean, you had emergency masks that were available, but obviously people get exposures more than others. But here we are in Houston, and we have Pasadena, fairly close by, very toxic city. Of course, we had a high rate of cancer. I think it was back in about the year 2000, we had the highest rate of cancer of anybody. Of course, we have the largest cancer center than anywhere in the world. So toxins are a big component with that. So 6 chemicals in particular are found in virtually every person, were identified by the CDC as significant health hazards. And we're going to talk about some of those. We don't think about this chemical, polybromated diphenyl ethers, PDEs they call them, used as flame retardants in clothing. They're known to build up in human fat tissue. Now this is, a lot of toxins will be put into fat tissue in the body. So that's one of the ways we can measure if we're efficient at removing is, how is my body storing fat tissue? So our BIA tests are ways to measure body fat. Because I have some people that are really, really thin, and they've got a high percentage of body fat. So this could be one of the toxic depots where they're storing it. Fat tissue causing damage to the nervous system, liver, kidneys. Studies also impact PDEs in the sexual dysfunction, thyroid problems, and various brain disorders. Here's chemical number 2. Bisphenol A. Anybody has not heard of this before? BPA, bisphenol A. It's found in plastics. Plastic water bottles. And that waste is getting into our environment. So we want to stay away from the plastics as much as possible. Stainless steel is really good to use in any situation. We now use glass containers at home to store our food in the refrigerator. We want to stay away from that. More than 90% of people tested by the CDC were found to have BPA in their bodies. It affects the reproductive system, it's toxic in animal studies, and is a little bit estrogenic. So estrogen risks in men, we do see even the development of more breast tissue in men than ever before. And they believe it's because of these estrogen compounds in plastics and others in our environment that are carcinogenic. So PFOAs are found in coating of pans that make it easy to cook with, right? Everybody loves the convenience of that. We don't do that. It's a pain. Not so much for Amy. She knows how to cook quickly and use the oils and things and water. But for me, because I've got to clean those pans. And I do the cleanup work, but that's okay. We're using stainless steel, and we're staying away from these chemicals because they are highly carcinogenic. Studies verify that. And it contributes to infertilities and other reproductive problems, liver and immune system dysfunction, also associated with the use of these. Perfluorooctanoic acid. Acrylamide is a carcinogen formed when carbohydrate foods are cooked at high temperatures. And the frying of food, very high temperatures, French fries, fried chicken, coffee. Any of you seen, what's the name of that documentary where the guy ate McDonald's every day? Super Size Me. Super Size Me. In 1 month time, he got so sick, gained 25 pounds. His blood pressure went up. his cholesterol levels went through the roof, his triglycerides, because he was eating that type of food 3 times a day. Yeah. Just 3 meals a day. I eat more than that, but I eat the right foods, so I don't have those issues. Perpetual exposure linked to cancer and neurological function as well.
How does coffee fit into
It
that?
depends on the coffee grower, if it's organic, staying away from pesticides. And yeah, coffee is a factor. The way it's processed and the acrylamides through the roasting, the oils become rancid in there as well. Mercury contamination. A lot of people are afraid of the mercury in fish. And they say that fish today, they found some fish that was frozen in glacier that was about 100 years old. And they tested the mercury content, and it was higher than what fish have even today. So the different types of mercury can deposit in different areas, but the biggest exposure is amalgam fillings, the air we breathe because of the off-gassing of methyl mercury from coal-fired power plants in the Midwest. There's a lot of that. A lot of coal is burned in this country. A bunch of it. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to give testimony to that. I had 14 teeth that were amalgam. Is that what
Yes, ma'am.
And over the period of 6 months, under Steve's advice, I took them out. It actually cured or very much alleviated the paralysis on the left side of my face, numbness, neck pain. I have C4, C5, C6 disc degeneration, and it was causing me pain, and alleviated that. Even as they were taking teeth out, I was feeling better, better, and better. Now, when I get the numbness, I can, through good, easy water, can get it under control and get rid of it in half a day instead of 3 or 4 weeks suffering from that numbness and the pain in the back.
I did the same thing. Steve told me about the feelings. I had all of them because I had feelings so many years ago. It was with mercury. And all the mercury had to be removed because I had so many things going on. And that helped me.
The University of Texas has very good prices on removing it, and now
Really?
Yeah,
removing
used to
them.
not be, but
Wow.
It costs a lot of the dentist, but I think it cost $57 each, depending on how deep they had to go. And I could pay as I go.
In Austin or here
Here in
locally?
Houston, University
Okay.
of Texas Dental School. Now, here's the thing, they do it along with students, so if an advanced student does it.
But they've got supervisors, obviously.
You actually get 3 dentists for the price of 1, and you get very, very good care. I no
Wow.
longer have dental insurance. I have my young adults all go to the same school.
oh wow.
Rita, you know, your countenance, you know, you're looking more youthful when you talk, see more brilliance in your eyes. You even had like bags and
I
circles
did.
under your eyes. You look younger since you've done that, and that's not been, is this in the last months?
In the last 6 months,
Yeah.
I had it all done. But yeah, I'm not as tired anymore. I feel better. I look, thank you, I look better, and I'm about to be 58 years old.
Oh wow.
So now, the deposition of methyl mercury is still present in some organ tissue and some fat tissue, and continuing to support detox pathways are very important, not just because you've been exposed that way, but we've all been experiencing some kind of vaccine through the years, and we're all breathing that air that's got that methyl mercury from the off-gassing of the power plant. So it is out there everywhere. Rita, that is so great that you came and shared that at this opportune time.
I
Thank you.
fully believe in it, and the good thing is you have to qualify for this program, the University of Texas program, but they didn't used to think that amalgam was a good reason to qualify. Now they do. They're convinced. I told them this has really helped me. And if you have an autoimmune disease, that will qualify you. Sjogren's or
Wow.
rheumatoid arthritis will qualify you. And I give Steve his authority to give my contact information out if you need it.
Thank you. That is exciting. So we can contact, they're doing studies, obviously. Are they doing follow-up with you and asking you questions about how you're responding?
They are, just because I do have Sjogren's, and so they do want to do that. I have dry eye syndrome.
Okay.
That
Autoimmune
my
condition.
situation might be, but a lot of us have autoimmune conditions, but that at least qualifies you to get into the program. You have to qualify and get into the University of Texas.
Okay, thank you for the note. A lot of people have autoimmunity that could qualify.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Even undiagnosed autoimmune.
Diabetes could qualify.
Absolutely.
Gut inflammation could qualify. Yeah, that's great.
Note from you would probably have them qualify.
That's fabulous. Wow, things are coming a long way, aren't they?
Yeah.
This is so exciting. And then chemical toxin number 6, from gasoline additives that we're all breathing at the pumps and getting exposure. So it's a little here, a little there, excessive exposure to secondhand smoke. Can you imagine? My mother smoked when I was in the womb.
Oh, mine did too.
For 9-10 months. And then I breathed secondhand smoke in the car. They didn't roll the windows down. I mean, we were in Nebraska, it was 20 degrees outside. The windows are up and we're breathing secondhand smoke for years and years and years. So I'm just doing catch up. Hopefully by the time I turn 60, I'll be at my peak. So this is, we're only describing 6 of 212 that they're testing. So obviously, what could the others be doing? Detox support is important. So how do we know? Do I need to make a change? Again, we're asking the question. We don't have to ask the question anymore. Am I toxic? It's how toxic am I? And how much support do I need? So looking for the symptoms. And we have a metabolic screen questionnaire most of you may have filled out. It's a detox questionnaire. Jason didn't bring it up. Just on the symptoms, generalized muscle aches, difficulty concentrating, even headaches contributed to that. General fatigue. A lot of people that have come in have had 15 years of headaches every single day. And they'll do the Clear Change program, and in just 2 or 3 days, the headaches stop. And by the end of the program, they feel better than they felt in 15 years. So supporting detox is so critical. Now, do we stop? It talks about the levels of whether you want to do a 10-day intensive or whether you do 28 days. I'll never stop detoxifying. I've stopped since Dr. Bland introduced UltraClear in 1990, and he's advanced it to the UltraClear Renew in his research. And Metagenics, working alongside with all these researchers, have compiled this, and they're kind of the leading in the industry for this. I started with UltraClear, and it dramatically changed my life. And so 2 times in 20 years, I went without it for 4 or 5 days. And I got sick. I got sick twice really bad in 20 years. And that was the only real sickness. You know, for a day or 2, I would get maybe a little sinus or something. But really sick that hung with me for a week to 10 days. And then one other time was a very stressful time. So in 25 years, using UltraClear every single day, when I missed, I ran into illness. So quite remarkable in the support for that compromised individual that has detox limitations, probably affected by go all the way back to the womb. And not only was I substandard as in being born, you know, my dad grew up on an organic farm. We grew up on more processed food, and we started going to McDonald's and vaccinations, mercury amalgams when I was only 12 years old. I had those removed 17 years ago, but exposed to them for like 35 years, you know, and so had those removed, and dramatic improvements in my health and things, just learning about how to, thank God for the UltraClear Renew and the Clear Change program that was introduced. And it has just been a godsend. They've even advanced the amino acids for better absorption and protein sparing so that people don't lose muscle tissue. Because a lot of, somebody mentioned juicing before we got started. And juicing is good in conjunction with doing a medical food program, but we want to make sure we're supporting the adequate proteins because juicing is mostly carbohydrates. And we need to have a balance of the trinity of enough protein and fatty acids so we're getting our fish oil, some other form of omega-3s to make sure we're getting enough fatty acids to facilitate the cell membranes and improve circulation. So any issues with food allergies, fibromyalgia, which is a severe muscle aches and pains everywhere, and they just don't clear. Now fibromyalgia was really popular. See, many diagnoses become popular through generations. This was popular back in the 1990s. A lot of women that were getting the silicone breast implants were having fibromyalgia because they couldn't clear the silicone. But it was amazing when you detoxed support with UltraClear, and I think the UltraClear Plus had just started to come out. It advanced it a little bit more. And these women were doing so much better. We just improved the efficiency of their body to remove toxins, their muscles hurt less. And it wasn't just the fibromyalgia, but chronic fatigue syndrome. They kind of went hand in hand. Just inefficient, not just detox pathways, but immunity and endocrine function. The whole system was shut down. Irritability, headaches, lethargy, fatigue, weakness, abdominal pain. These are all symptoms. So what can I do? Obviously, we can look at things like, what am I using for soaps at home? Cleaning chemicals, even dryer sheets. You know what we do now? This is fun. I think we talked about it. The wool balls. So they're wool. They're about like a softball. Amy has 6 of them. And she puts essential oils on them and just throws them in the dryer with the clothes. So whether we want lavender scent or we like to use bergamot to give it kind of that citrus scent. And that is just so cool. Because now we're not using chemical dryer sheets. Right? Just think about it, the chemicals that get into us. They did a study, and I'm trying to remember this study how long ago, but the average individual in America, before they leave the house in the morning, puts on their body or in their body between 40 and 70 chemicals that their body doesn't want. And so we got to become aware of these things. Even chlorine exposure, that's important. We use well water, so we do get a better water, and then we filter it. It comes in the house, it's filtered, it's conditioned, and it goes through another filter to drink it. And it's a pure water. We love it. pH balance. So avoiding personal products that may have parabens or methylparabens and phytates. Looking at your skin creams, looking at your soaps, looking at your makeups. Amy can give you some more pointers on makeup. And so foods, free-range chickens are really good. American Health Food, by the way, now is carrying a local chicken farmer's eggs there, and I just bought some yesterday. I want to bring those home, that are really clean, free-range, antibiotic-free. Local is better, of course. It doesn't have to be transported. Choose fresh, cold water fish. Obviously not farm-raised. Sometimes we'll buy like Icelandic. At Whole Foods, they have it from Iceland, and they don't feed them the PCB foods, and you get a cleaner food for the fish. Always wash produce very well before eating. We're talking about some of the produce of the Dirty Dozen that you definitely want to wash these guys if you're not buying organic. This is better to buy organic of the Dirty Dozen. So celery, peaches, strawberries, apples, blueberries, nectarines, bell pepper, spinach, cherries, the kale. You can grow that pretty easily. You're going to grow right. Potatoes and grapes. How's your potatoes doing, guys? Good?
Oh, we already ate.
We're all gone. We haven't planted any more this year.
No, but there'll be some pop up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You had a lot of potatoes then?
Oh, yum.
They do a lot of farming.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Huge garden. Yeah, you were over there with me while they were gone. All right, so the Clean 15 is much lower in pesticides, and if it's conventionally grown, these are of the lesser contaminated foods. So onions, avocado, sweet corn, pineapple, mangoes. I eat so much avocado. Goodness. I just love avocado. Asparagus, love how it makes me have stinky pee. You're getting that sulfation going on. Cabbage, eggplant, cantaloupe, watermelons, grapefruit, sweet potato, honeydew melon.
Is that what it is? It's sulfation?
Yeah.
I
It's a
never.
sulfur that's in there that gives it that smell.
I thought that was
And these have some of their odor. Amy likes to, she'll put chopped up broccoli and cauliflower on a pan, and she'll put some bell pepper, and then she does all her seasoning, and she'll cook it. You come in the house, like, ooh, it stinks. Some of those sulfur compounds are being released in the air. It just smells, but it's good for the liver. The body likes it. Rutabaga, turnips, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, onions are in there as well, garlic. So, what fits better in your schedule? To exercise for an hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? And a natural cleanser, the body purifies better, obviously, when we're sweating and getting the toxins out. And people who have more muscle tissue live longer. Read it.
Steve, just a quick question. I heard that you should wipe sweat. I just started an exercise program. They said you should wipe sweat off of you as you sweat. A famous boxer told me that because she said that otherwise the toxins dry back into your skin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And when you do a sauna, it's good after you get out of it in the sauna to wash real quick. Get it off your skin so it doesn't reabsorb. Now on the flip side of that, if you're sweating and you're in the sun, the vitamin D that's synthesized in your skin, if you leave it there for a little bit longer while you're outside, you can absorb more vitamin D that way. But that is nature's cleanser, to be outdoors and breathing fresh air, getting lots of oxygen. Here's a great tool for detoxification. I think, who has not had a colonic in this room? We're going to single you out. Okay.
I have no interest, I'm sorry.
Come on. Everybody in the room's had one.
That's okay.
It's just one.
I'm so proud of y'all.
Jack's going to
It's
see
not
this
that
video. He's working on it.
Oh, you haven't even started to hear Jack.
It's been around since the Dead Sea Scrolls. It just didn't look like that. That is something else.
That probably works better than the Dead Sea
Of course,
Scrolls.
Amy was there. She can tell the story of when we did our first colonic together. We had a board. It was, and we still have it. I should bring it when I do these demonstrations. It sits over the toilet and has a little hood, and then it comes out probably about that far, and you sit it on a chair. It's over the toilet. So on the back of the toilet, you set some books up, and you elevate a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, and you have a tubing. You sit it in there, and you got to kind of siphon it to get the water flowing. And it goes through the back of this little hood, and the tip sticks out, and it's about this big. And so you get up on there, you sit down, and you scoot up, lay back, and you insert it in your rectum, and then it's got a little on-off thing on the tubing, and you turn it on, the water flows in. Well, the first time we're going to do it, we're nervous about it. Somebody lent us their board to take it home, and so we're both standing in the buff in the bathroom, and Amy's nervous about it because she didn't think it was a cool thing. Now she's just so excited, you know. I get up there, it's rigged up. Okay, I'll go first, honey. And I get a swing my leg over, kick the bucket. Goes through the floor, we refill, we did the colonic. And so we're laying in bed that night. Wow, that colonic was what's wrong with the ceiling? It had gone all the way through to our bedroom. We just laughed so hard. Now we've got a system at home, and really we also have one here. The far infrared is a great tool as well to enhance detoxification. So the studies on this show that the sweat that you emit has 20% of the fluid, of the moisture there, is toxins. Standard sweat only has about 3% toxins in it. Is that fascinating? So this deep penetrating infrared heat, which you can touch these panels, is far infrared. Enhances detox. So what else can I do? Metabolic detoxification is simply normalizing the body's ability to process and excrete the toxins while you temporarily reduce the amount of incoming toxins. Well, I'd like to make that more permanent, not just temporary, right? No more methylmercury coming off your teeth, right? So whatever we can do, changing our soaps, our shampoos.
What do you recommend for shaving the guy?
Shaving cream?
Shaving.
Shaving?
Shaving cream.
Oh, I use one that I get at this store that's just a natural cream. Kiss My Face makes it. Yeah. It's got lavender in it. We could even use like our Tate's conditioner. I use that sometimes, and I'll put some lavender in it. Shave with that. Electric. That would work too.
I use it, Kiss Me and something else.
So how is Clear Change different than juicing or other cleansing programs? Because they're balancing the nutrients there, and they're studying at the cellular level how these toxins are coming out. and doing human studies as well, which is great. If you want to be a test subject, it's go up to Gig Harbor and see if they'll get you in on their roll, and they give you the products to use to be a part of it. That's what's great. You get free products, but they'll come back and test you and see how you're doing. So the balance of different herbs work in conjunction with zinc, for example, to bind heavy metals like mercury, and the new Renew or the new Clear Change program has that ability to remove methyl mercury better than anything they've seen in research before. Now, some people will go to IV chelation experts, and they'll start dripping IV in their bloodstream to really aggressively bind and try to excrete it. But the danger there is a lot of that gets pushed through the kidneys, and they can get kidney cancer by aggressively moving it too fast. Rita's not in a hurry. She's got that offending agent out of there. She's getting better every day. She'll probably be on Ultra Clear Renew maybe for the rest of her life, like I am, because of my environmental exposure. Ultra Clear Renew will probably even get better in years to come as they do more advanced research at the cellular level and look at different herbal components, how they combine them with different nutrients, and they get better cellular detox. So that's the fascinating part about doing these programs is we don't have to understand completely how it's working. But the juicing and other fasting programs can actually deprive the body of certain nutrients that are needed to get it done. Get that detoxification process working.
Can you say that again? I mean,
So,
you give an example?
if you're just juicing, or maybe you're just doing a fast and just drinking water, well, the liver is like your washing machine. I could just give my washing machine water and put clothes in there. Those clothes are not going to come very clean. They're going to look a little better, but they're still going to be kind of dingy. So a person can do a water fast, and they can feel a little bit better, but they still feel kind of dingy because detoxification through a complete program that supports the liver gets the job done more efficiently. And I've seen it time and time again.
And doesn't it also put a lot of stress on your adrenal glands? And people have trouble sleeping, and they get...
Yeah, let's elaborate on that bit. That's a good point. You know, when you're juice fasting, your blood sugar is going to jump up and down quicker. And so in low blood sugar conditions, you know, the body kind of goes into an adrenaline response, and the glands are working harder. The body's more stressed. You're not going to sleep as well. You're not going to get the repair that you need while you're detoxifying. Same thing happens in a fasting program with just water. When you go with that, if you try to live life, that's why Jesus said, and when you fast, he's basically saying, stay away from people. Go to your closet. Don't hang around other people because it's too hard on your body.
Yeah.
Even in biblical, you know, naturopaths have researched fasting, and water fast should never even be done more than 3 days if you're going to consider it at all, because of the dangerous things it does when the body starts going catabolic. Biblically, they would typically fast for 24 hours. They would just use water, and they would rest and just let their body cleanse. But now we have this advanced technology. But they had those foods that they were eating every day that were so nutrient rich that their livers were working well when they did eat. So there's a little picture of the liver and how it has various steps.